Hey everybody, what's up? It's Lexi and I'm coming in tonight. I've got a juicy topic for us. Tonight we're going to talk about what's been trending on YouTube. As everybody knows, the high value woman. This one, I'm going to break it down, guys. I'm going to break it down like nobody's broken it down. So sit back and relax. We're going to talk about the high value woman and what it really takes to be one. I'm going to start off with a disclaimer. Guys, I'm going to be real. I am not a high value woman. Yes, I said it. I'm not a high value woman. I could tell you what she is. I could tell you what to look for. But in telling you all those things, I can firmly attest and be honest that I'm on the road to becoming a high value woman, but I'm not one yet. And so many of these people on these channels, you hear them describing it as if it were them. There were so many different things that they don't talk about that really makes you a high value woman. I know personally because I was raised by a high value woman. I was raised by a real and true, authentic high value woman. She's the same high value on Saturday night as she is Sunday morning. She keeps it real, she keeps it 100, but she's graceful and beautiful while she does it. So I'm gonna get right into it, guys. Sit back and relax and enjoy this topic on a high value woman. The first things first, why am I not a high value woman? At my age, I'm unmarried. So yes, I'm gonna say it to you guys, ladies, and I know this is gonna hurt a lot of you single, level up in the bag, whatever you guys wanna call it. If you're single and there's no ring on your finger and it's looking as dry as a bag of potato chips, then you are not high value. Yes, I said it. At this age, if you're unmarried, if you're within the, I want to say 22 to 35 range, and you haven't been offered your hand in marriage, accepted, and became a wife to a high value man, then you're just not a high value woman. I'm not saying that you can't be single later. Like now, my mother in her older ages later, but at my age, she was married. She was running a home. She was being high value. That's one of the main things. If you're a high value woman, you have gotten your high value man. No, don't use the excuses. Oh, he's not out there. Oh, I'm just waiting on the right time. Oh, I'm getting my money up. Oh, you have no prospects because it's not up to you, honey. If you were a high value woman, you would get a proposal that you couldn't refuse. It's just like if you won the lottery. You're not going to get the lottery number, write it down, scratch it off, have the winning ticket, and then say, oh, I'm not going to turn in my lottery ticket. It's okay. I'm going to wait till next year and then I'm going to take that $50 million. Honey, do I look like I'm born yesterday? Do I look like I'm born under a rock? You're not high value. You don't have the lottery ticket and you don't have the money. That check is blank. So if you had a high value man, that's something you'd be doing. You'd be running your household. You're not a high value woman starting a family at 40 years old. I'm sorry. You're a high value woman when you have a man that's married you, put you up, and you're ready to run that family and be his star and be his cheerleader and have your own thing also going on and doing it all like it's easy, like it was like it was nothing, like you were born to do it. The example I'm going to use, of course, like I said, is my mother. She came to this country from Jamaica. She met my father at that day. At that time, he knew of her sister. He was the high value man in Delaware. My dad was just that guy. Everybody knows him. Everybody still knows him. He passed away 3 years ago, and I still get people sending me pictures, sending me messages, talking about times that they had with him. He was the kind of man that's the closest to royalty in a city that you could have. I'm not just saying that. He really was. You can't go anywhere with him. He was like a neighborhood celebrity. If you just went to the store, people knew him. He was the landlord. He owned the buildings. He collected the rent. He worked for DuPont. He had a lot of connections. He was invited to the governor's mansion. He was that guy. So when he had his eyes on my mother, it said something because all the women in the town wanted him. And even back then, my mom said there were women after woman after woman after woman. And she knew about it. She knew that all these women liked him. She knew that they were giving her the side eye because she was the innocent, sweet girl fresh out of Jamaica. He had been here from Jamaica for a few more years. He had been building his business, buying and selling properties. We're talking about back in the 80s, guys. So he came to this country, he did it. He was that high value man. And like I said, even her, as naive and as sweet and as sheltered as she was, he got in that house and he came for her. And that's why I said, if you're a high value woman, you would have that high value man knocking on your door. The man that is the city's who's who, the one that everybody wants to be with, is gonna wanna be with you. Doesn't mean that you're the most beautiful, you're the most fit. It just means that you have the attributes that he sees for a wife, that he sees for a mother, that he sees to be the yin to his yang. That's just how it is, guys. That's how it works. In raising a family, a high value woman, she never argues. I can honestly tell you, my mother has never argued. That's another thing. That's why I know I'm not a high value woman, because I have argued one too many times. I think that I was so overpowered with the feminism and the sweet and the love and the grace and the nice that I always felt like, man, Mom, why didn't you tell that person off? I'm ready to tell that person off. I'm ready to. So I would just be the pit bull. And I had two brothers. So I was just like, Mom, we were too nice to them. It would just make me mad. That shows anger therapy, anger management, Lexi. But now that I'm older and I look at her and I look at how her relationships work and I look at how her life turned out, I see that's the true trait of a high value woman. Because it's not that she's arguing because she's not arguing because she's scared of you. It's not that she's not arguing with you because she's worried about what you're going to say. She's not arguing with you because she's not stunting you. She's not stunting anybody. She's on her program. She's got her family. She's got her children, her goals, and she works towards them. And she's not going to be up in a room arguing with my dad, arguing with her sisters, arguing with people. Because guess what? A high value woman already knows that she's the shit. When you're the shit, you don't need a hype man in the background. I've never seen her lose her cool and start yelling, man, you don't know what you're talking about, my kids and my da-da. Never. What it is a high value woman's almost like, made you look, you guys are all getting all worked up and you guys think that I'm bothered about it. But just made you look, because guess what? When you talk to her afterwards, I'm like, Mom, did you hear what that person said? Are you really gonna do that? Because you didn't defend yourself, you didn't say anything. So I'm wondering, are we gonna have to, move? She'd say, honey, I'm not listening to that fool. Just with a smile on her face, she's gonna say, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do what I told you we're gonna do. What I say we're gonna do. You said we were gonna leave on Saturday. Okay, we're gonna leave on Saturday. And that was that. I actually have a couple more aunts as well that are very high value. And people might call it sneaky, they might call it unbothered, but it's beautiful. And now looking back on it, I see the importance of that. You can't let things get to you and ruffle your feathers. You know what you know. And that's something my mom always says, is that, Lexi, you know what you know. If you know what you know, you don't have to prove it to somebody. Unless you're a lawyer and you're getting paid to defend your case, or you're in a debate club and you have to explain why this or that, there's no benefit in arguing with somebody at the grocery store, arguing with the hotel clerk, arguing with whoever that's not gonna change anything. One thing that my sweet godmother always taught me is, don't take yes from somebody that can't tell you no. Don't take yes from somebody that can't tell you no. Don't take no from somebody that can't tell you yes. These are people that don't make a difference. So as a result, she never argued. Even with my dad, the little I remember before the divorce when I was probably 5 or 6, even then, he'd be yelling, he'd be angry, he'd be mad. Mom, just ignore, go about her day. Whenever he's calmed down, she's gonna say, okay, well, this is what I was saying. That's a high value woman. She's not gonna get down in the gutter. She's not gonna get down on your level. She's not gonna go low. She's gonna stay where she's at. You're gonna have to meet her in the middle, meet her where she's at, or you're gonna have to go to the next station because she ain't putting up with it. Another thing a high value woman does is class is just in her essence, it's just in her aura. That is my mother. She's never been to any off-brand Rainbow or, Macy's or these cheap stores. That's where I go. When I first told her that I wanted to go to the Dollar Tree, she almost had a panic attack. She didn't know what was going on. My mom was in Lord and Taylor. She was in Saks Fifth Avenue. She was in Louis. She was in Yves Saint Laurent. She loved Chanel. She loved these things. This was just the things that attracted her. These were the things that she was going to purchase. Naturally, coming straight out of Jamaica, I don't know how it happened. I don't know how that's all I know from her. I don't know how every single outfit, every single shoes, everything is designer brand. Everything is top notch. She wouldn't even find anything in one of these regular stores or cheap things that it's just not how she presented herself. And that's another thing, the presentation. I remember being younger, I was like, Mom, why do you look like you're going to be giving a speech? I hated it. I hated that she was in those heels and had the pencil skirt and had the button down shirt. And all my pictures, she was dressed up like we were going somewhere. And as you know, growing up, especially coming back to the States, a lot of these hoochie mamas, literally I see where the word comes from, a lot of these mothers are young and they're competing with the daughters. And I always saw friends that had that. And I thought, Mom, do you have to wear that? But now I see that's when you're high value. You don't look like the general public. You look like you're representing more than that. And that's what she was. She was a great representation. And also a high value man was able to see that and select that. For my dad to know that she was going to maintain that class and maintain that, even though he only got with her when she was 19 or 20, that shows that a high value man is always going to know how to pick a high value woman, period. Those are things that you can't buy. You can't learn in the stores. You either got it or you don't. And that's why these channels and things, they're great. However, a lot of people, you're just born that way. I know my dad was literally born a high value man. People really think it's comical or could laugh at it. But I just see him even as a baby. I wonder, did he even have a poopy diaper? Every picture of him, every account of what people told me about him. A lot of people, even when you hear of celebrities and stuff, you could always hear the story that even when he was younger, he was different. You hear that a lot. You'll hear, I knew he was going to be something big because he was acting or he was singing. Every time you hear somebody that really made a huge difference in our society as we know it, it's always the stories when you see their biographies that you said that these people were different from a child. And I know that was my mother and my father. And I'm not just saying that because they're my parents. Like I said, I'm the first one to say, I'm not high value yet. I know I'm not. However, I could say that I know my dad from a young age, his mindset was just always different. My mom was just always different. She did not worry about what the general public was doing. Even in her own family, she's one of 15. And she's probably one of the most different. She probably is the black duckling. She doesn't think like the general people. And that's high value. You can't be high value and be like everybody else. You have to be high value and be your own brand, be your own person. Be something that people, when they talk about you, there's a different laugh. There's a different, oh yeah, I really like your mom. I remember your mom. I always get that. She's this, she's that. And it's always things that are off the charts. And I'm proud. I'm always proud because I know my parents well represented me. I've always gone out and I know that if they knew my dad or they knew my mom, I'm going to be treated well. I'm going to be treated differently. I'm going to be treated like somebody because they acted. They did the work for me. Because it's not because of me. It's they did the work for me. So I do believe some people are just born a little bit different and they think a little differently and they become and they are high value. And as they grow, it just enhances. It's not something that you learn on a channel. It's something that you are. Another thing about my mother, when finally the going got tough with my father, things didn't work. They did divorce, which unfortunately, like most children, you wish it didn't happen. However, a lot of things happen in my life that I would never be able to be standing before you if they didn't. So I do understand that the mystery of God has its reasons. When they finally did divorce, though, what does a high value woman do? Well, if you listen to some of these channels, they're going to say, I leveled up, I bossed up, I took my kids and I did this and I did that. No, a real high value woman said, okay, I'm leaving one situation. I'm finally going to figure out who I am, I guess, because the same time she did get married at like 19 years old. So leaving 15 years later, it was at least 15 years later after leaving my father, she was finding herself. Where did she choose to go? My brother, my oldest brother, stayed with my dad, and she was okay with that. See, so many other women would have, oh, he's not getting my kids. My kids aren't going to do that. He's this. I'm leaving him. He's done. That's not a high value woman. High value woman is not trying to have her children choose. That's a loser woman. A high value woman is not worried about which parent favors more, who somebody wants more. You better love me more. I did this for you. I did that for you. Don't you know I got your back? Did you want me? Don't you see that I paid for this? I paid for that. I never heard that. I never heard that, because that's low value. High value, like I said, she's not arguing. She's not going to compete with somebody, and she's not going to be out here struggling to explain and argue with her, at this time, teenage son. He wanted to stay with his father, and guess where she was going? She didn't just say, I'm moving across the street and co-parenting and doing all this. She said, I think I'm going to just go ahead and get my ticket to Paris. Yep, I'm going to move to France. Wild, right? But that's exactly what she did. Even with everyone saying, are you crazy? Are you nuts? Do you speak French? Do you do this? My nanny was French. She was from France. She lived in the house with us. She'd grown up with us. She raised us, not grown up with us. She was taking care of us. And she was French. And my mom got onto the culture, and she learned about it through my beautiful nanny, Christelle. And due to that, she said, I'm leaving, but I'm not just going to sit around here. I'm going to go to France. See, a high value woman is going to take risks. She's not listening to the negatives. She's not listening to the naysayers. She has one opportunity. She knows her opportunity. She knows her window of time. She knows it's now or never, because everybody's saying, I'm going to put it off next year. And you're sitting around there 70 years old talking about I woulda, coulda, shoulda in the old folks home, trying to give other people advice when you didn't even get no advice or do anything yourself in your life. I am not going to take advice from somebody that sat in the same state, never left, never did anything, never traveled. My mom understood, and that's high value. You understand your time is limited. You understand your clock is ticking. You understand that I'm going to make the most of my life, my vacations, and my livelihood. And while my children are young, they're going to be able to have the opportunity to say that they grew up in France. And who could say that? We're just coming from Jamaica. This is a lowly family from Jamaica. Ended up marrying into a great, better family. And then also, when divorced, moved to another country. And there we were. I grew up in France, all because of a high value woman. See, a high value woman adds class and grace and gives to her children without even knowing. It's the gift that keeps giving, guys. So you guys are waiting on Santa Claus, and you don't realize you just need a high value mother. We grew up in France, and we were exposed to a different culture. In France, we learned quickly the power of having 5-course meals. We learned the power of making crepes, of making different pâtisseries, all types of different baking items. Pain raisin, pain au chocolat, des croissants, tout ça. D'accord? These are things that we got in France. We were in a private school out there. We had the best home, the best schools, and the best lifestyle. She gave us something that money can't buy, although money did kind of buy it. But the culture, it's also something that you can't just get from reading a book. You can't just get from typing on Google. You can't just get for these 2-week trips. Some of these people take these 2-week trips and they go to somewhere, they backpack somewhere, and I live like the people. Yeah, that's great. That's nice. But it was a vacation. There's nothing wrong with vacationing. There's nothing wrong with traveling. But when you live somewhere else, it's a totally different perspective. I know France is a part of me. It is a part of me. I went to school there. I grew up there. Those people were my people. I've got family there that I'll have for life. And I still am close to Christelle, my beautiful nanny. She's the most and cherishable woman to me. So these are things that high value women do. They go places and they're comfortable in class. They're comfortable being somewhere where they said, hey, it's not every day you're going to see a Jamaican woman in the middle of France, but she was there chilling. We went back, visited the US, but that's where we grew up. Another thing about a high value woman is she understands when she's supposed to speak and she understands when it's supposed to be silent. And sometimes there's just power in not speaking. We don't have that in this culture. See, my mom's not always going to just talk to talk. I have to ask for her advice. And I like that. Sometimes it's annoying because as women, we want to give free advice. Somebody says something and we're just boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. This is what I think and this is how I thought and this da 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 da. Before you know it, it's like, shut up. But my mom, she knows when it's time to speak. She knows, okay, she can already feel your vibes. That's another thing about a high value woman. Like I said, the communication skills are there. She's in tune with who she is. And so she can sense the room. She could tell me early on in the room, that person right there, you see him right there? He's trouble. Or our biggest running joke, them need to build a prison for him. That means they need to go ahead and make a jail for him. He's going to end up in jail. That's what she'll say. Very simple things like that. Very simple parables. And they mean the world because you know that she's right. She'll tell me real early, Lexi, get out now. Ishnay on the E-cup snake. Just say. So many times she's warned me on people and warned me on situations and warned me. And she'd say, you see the danger coming, but yet you want to walk into it. And that's another thing. So many times I could have had the easier way, but I made things harder for me because I took the harder route. I was so busy trying to conquer the world, trying to do so many things like this modern woman. And my mom always said, why are you doing that? I mean, there's no shame in getting the easy way out. If there's an easy route and you see rocks, if you see a smooth pavement and you can just walk freely and you're barefoot, why don't you take the smooth pavement? Or you see some rocky, thorny, stoned up, shriveled, thistle-filled route, and you want to take that route to get to the same destination. And she never understood why I would do that. And that's a high-value woman. They don't understand why another woman is going to take the hard and hard-working route when they could have it much easier. But again, they're not badgering that woman. They're not putting that woman down. They could care less because they decided to do it their way, the easier way. And another trait about the high-value woman, besides being married to a high-value man, she definitely made my father shine. Like, that's something that a high-value woman is just, it's in her DNA. It's just part of being in her role. To this day, my father's family is probably closer to my mother than they are some of their own family members. Even though they weren't even together, when you've built that respect and everybody has seen you guys as this power couple, as this unit, and I know we use that term so loosely, but a lot of times when you say power couple, it's okay when you're saying it about another couple. When you're saying it about yourself, you might be doing it a stretch. However, when other people see you guys as a power couple, that says something. And you guys are the first one to buy the brand new Beamer, buy the brand new Mercedes, buy the brand new everything. And it's not even because you're bragging or trying to show off. You guys just got it like that. That's how you guys live. And it's just done in grace and in elegance and in humility. And both of you guys are happy to share with your friends, drive around, be nice. See, a lot of times people see the popular or the nice, the popular person or the famous person or the up-class person or the high-value woman as someone that has her nose down on people or that's someone that thinks she's better. But I learned early on, in order to be popular and in order to be someone that people see you as a part in high value, you have to be likable. You have to be likable because people are going to speak highly of you. And people are not going to speak highly of someone that thinks that they're better than everyone. And since I can Kid you not. There is nobody in the entire history of my life that did not like my mother or does not like my mother. There is not one person I can honestly say, me by chance, me on the other hand, I've got a lot of haters. I mean, and I got reason for them, because I can be, sometimes hard to deal with. But my mother doesn't. And that's also part of being high value, just like my father. A man, it's easier for him to have some haters. But overall, he had so many people that looked up to him. And that's also part of being high value. What are people saying about you? No, not what your hashtag putting about yourself. No, not hashtag boss chick, hashtag power couple, hashtag I'm bad, hashtag looking good, hashtag bitch top. Okay? We need to stop over pumping up ourselves, because you might be saying that about yourself, but everybody else is looking around saying, did you see her post? Or did you see his post? That's not what people are supposed to be saying. And when you're high value, you understand that. You're so busy doing the walk, walking the walk, talking the talk, that your resume is being built on your own. People are validating you. When other people are validating you, when other people are calling you the power couple, I knew that my parents were the power couple based on what other people were saying to me. Oh, your parents. Oh, they raised you so well. Oh, they're so nice. Oh, did you see their new car? How is it driving there? How is it living in that house? I was always being auditioned and asked questions and interviewed. I was like, huh? You want an opinion of a 5-year-old? And so these are things, even in France. As high value, people like you. You have to be likable. I'm not saying you have to be accessible, because that's another thing. High value people aren't always accessible. My mom's the first one to say and turn down a dinner date, turn down friends going out. She'll go out, but it's very seldom. And that's another thing about being high value. You're not accessible. You're not always available. You're not always on Instagram. You're not always being able to reach you. It should be a process. Levels to getting close to a high value person, levels to being involved with a high value person, levels to being in that circle. If it's easy and you met the person and by the first day, you know their life story, where they came from, what they dealt with, their ex problems, everything that's happened, then you're not high value. You're actually low value. Losers share everything. Losers are accessible. Losers are just a dime a dozen. High value is exclusivity. It's the Yeezys that dropped. Everybody's in line waiting. Everybody's excited about the design. Everybody stands by that brand and everybody's waiting. And that's high value. So remember, these are the things that make a high value woman. And a lot of these things are not the women I see today. I don't meet a lot of women like my mom's. And yes, it can be achievable in this society. Don't let people tell you. So she's got to be helping her husband. She's got to make him look good. She's got to make him shine. She's got to be able to, when she moves, people are asking, hey, Greg, where's your wife? She's able to own the room. She's the hostess with the mostest. Is she able to keep the crowd coming back? Is she able to keep your co-workers coming back? Is she able to keep the wives of the co-workers coming back? Is she able to get along with people in her man's circle, in her circle, in her family circle? Can she go and when in Rome, do as the Romans do? See, so many people say they could do that, but really once it comes down to it, oh, I don't want to try that. Oh, I don't want to do that. Huh? We got to do this? What? You mean we got to pray? Huh? They're just so one-track mind that you just want to turn this thing on. It's like an old TV that just... If you're not able to be expandable and movable and fluid, be able to sit with your white friends and never miss a beat. Sit with your Hispanic friends and never miss a beat. Sit with your Italian friends, never miss a beat. Sit with your friends from Africa, never miss a beat. Be able to be dynamic, be in a group, And people are still drawn to you no matter where they come from, because you've got that genuine high value woman about you, then you're a high value woman. But however, if you're sitting around there single, watching this YouTube video, just finished painting your nails, probably finished the Keeping Up with the Kardashian episode, have a bottle of wine and no one to share it with, thinking about your work project for tomorrow because you ain't got no man, might be going on a date, but it's somebody good and damn well you're not interested in on the long term, or he's not high value. That happens. Then you're not high value. You have to have had the history of dealing with a high value man, and like my mother, bared his children, ran his businesses, entertained his friends, dealt with those people, didn't argue while doing it, didn't get down while doing it, didn't lose swag while doing it, stayed in the sexy. That's a high value woman. You're not high value single at home, and I'm guilty of it right now. I am just home with my daughter, and there's nothing high value about trying to catch up on a series, taking care of Jazz, my daughter, waiting on a movie to come on, hanging out with my girls on the weekend. I mean, when you're single, that's your job. You go to work. You're not actually in a circle. You're just a one-woman show, which that's beauty to it. I mean, you got to enjoy every stage of life. I enjoy being single. I'm not jumping in, because you have to know which one to choose. Like my mom, there were a lot of Dusties around there that wanted to be with her. There were a lot of Dusties there that wanted to take her time up. But no, she saved herself for my father. She saw my father was different. My father had something to offer. And like I told you about taking the easy road or the hard road, a lot of women that get these busters, they're going to take the hard road in life. You've only got one life. Get with the high value man. Especially to have that history and to have that family and to do it right the first time. You might have an opportunity of raising your children in France. You might have the opportunity of giving your children more than what you could have given them with a low value man. So these are things that a high value woman has. Remember, she has class. Remember, she has grace. She doesn't argue. She's not trying to prove her point all the time. She knows what she knows. She still sticks by what she knows, even if she makes you think and made you look, caught you slipping. You think that I'm worried about it, but I'm not stunting that. Knows what she wants, makes her decision, keeps her class and grace, well-traveled, well-spoken, and likable by all. These are hard traits, ladies and gentlemen, and a lot of women don't have it. As I said, I know I'm not one. However, I hope to be on that route pretty soon, and I have been one with my second husband, who is an attorney, who is high value, who is sweet, yeah. So it happens. It was very brief, but again, I still wouldn't consider it high value because it's long-term commitment of this relationship. Families being raised, legacies being kept. And just like with my father, even though he's passed and gone, his legacy lives on with me and my brothers. And we keep his name and we know what he stood for. And a big example of that was my mom and how she did it. So these are the traits of a high value woman. A high value woman breeds a high value family. And here I am, my brothers are, and we can identify it and we can work towards it and we know what we're dealing with. So try and be those things. That way, when you have your family, your children will know from your example of what a true high value woman is. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Hope I didn't ruffle any feathers. And if I did, hopefully it's for the better. I ruffle feathers for the better. Hey. Love you guys. Have a great night. Good night.